Imagine hearing a 112-year-old man say something that leaves even doctors shaking their heads in disbelief. He calmly says, "I haven't been sick for 35 years. No hospital stays, no serious infections, no constant medications, and no days spent lying in bed feeling weak and exhausted." Then he quietly reveals something even more surprising. Every single day, without fail, he eats the same 7 foods. Now, before you dismiss this as another unbelievable story, think about your own life for a moment. How many mornings do you wake up feeling tired before the day has even started? How often do your knees ache when you stand up? How many times have you forgotten where you placed your glasses, your keys, or your phone? And how often do you find yourself saying, "I just don't have the energy I used to have"? For millions of people over 50, these struggles have become so common that they seem normal. But what if they aren't? What if many of the problems we associate with aging are actually signs that our bodies are missing something important? This is where today's story becomes fascinating. Because this 112-year-old man doesn't claim to have a secret pill. He doesn't sell miracle supplements, and he doesn't spend hours every day exercising. In fact, his daily routine is surprisingly simple. Yet somehow, while people decades younger struggle with fatigue, poor circulation, weak immunity, and constant health complaints, he continues living independently, walking daily and enjoying life. According to those who know him, one of his biggest habits has remained unchanged for decades: the foods he chooses to eat. Now it's important to understand something. No single food can guarantee a long life, and no food can magically prevent every disease. But researchers have spent years studying people who live well into their 90s, 100s, and beyond, and again they notice certain patterns. These individuals often eat simple, natural foods consistently for many years. Not perfectly, not occasionally, but consistently. And that's a word many people overlook. Consistency. Most people don't struggle because they don't know what is healthy. They struggle because they jump from one trend to another. One week it's a special diet, the next week it's a new supplement, and then comes another miracle cure promising to solve everything. Meanwhile, the body is left confused and deprived of the basic nourishment it truly needs. But here's where the biggest mistake happens. Many people focus only on avoiding bad foods. They spend all their energy trying not to eat sugar, not to eat fried foods, and not to eat snacks. Yet they rarely ask a much more important question: what should I be eating every day? Because health isn't built only by what you remove. It's built by what you consistently provide. And that's exactly what makes this story so powerful. When people ask this 112-year-old man what kept him healthy, he didn't start talking about complicated medical theories. He talked about his breakfast. He talked about foods his family had eaten for generations. He talked about habits that seemed ordinary at the time but turned out to be extraordinary over the course of a lifetime. In many ways, his approach challenges modern thinking. Today, we often look for dramatic solutions. We want quick results. We want something powerful enough to erase years of neglect overnight, but the human body doesn't work that way. Your heart notices what you eat. Your brain notices what you eat. Your immune system notices what you eat. And your muscles, joints, bones, and even your sleep notice what you eat. These effects build slowly, day after day, month after month, and year after year. Most of these changes happen so gradually that we don't see them until one day we do. A person suddenly feels weaker, climbing stairs becomes difficult, walking becomes slower, recovery takes longer, and the body starts sending signals that something is changing. Many people assume that's simply aging. But what if part of the story is nutrition? What if the body has been quietly asking for help for years? That's the question that makes today's discussion so important. Because the 7 foods we're about to explore aren't exotic. You won't need to travel across the world to find them, and you may already have some of them in your kitchen right now. Yet the way they support the body may surprise you. Some help protect the heart, some support the immune system, some help maintain strength and energy, and one of them is so simple that most people completely overlook it every single day. But before we get to the first food, there's something else you need to know. This 112-year-old man believes the greatest health mistake isn't what people eat occasionally. It's what they fail to eat consistently. And when you hear the first food on his daily list, you'll understand exactly what he means. Because it may be sitting in your refrigerator right now, quietly waiting to do far more for your health than you ever imagined. And what makes it even more surprising is that most people over 50 are not eating enough of it. The reason could change the way you look at your next meal. The first food this remarkable 112-year-old man never skips is eggs. Now, some people may be surprised by that. For years, eggs were unfairly blamed for all kinds of health problems. Many older adults stopped eating them because they worried about cholesterol. Yet today, many nutrition experts recognize that eggs can be one of the most nutritious foods available. This man says that nearly every morning of his life began with eggs. Not because they were expensive, and not because they were trendy, but simply because they kept him satisfied, energized, and strong. As we get older, our bodies naturally begin losing muscle. This process happens slowly, often without us noticing. 1 year we can carry groceries with ease, and a few years later, lifting the same bags feels heavier. Standing up from a chair becomes harder, and balance becomes less stable. Many people blame age alone, but sometimes the real problem is that the body is no longer getting enough high-quality protein, and that's where eggs can help. They provide important nutrients that support muscles, the brain, and overall strength. The 112-year-old man often joked that his body was like an old house. If you stop repairing the walls, eventually the house begins to weaken. He believed food was the repair material his body needed every single day. But here's where another common mistake happens. Many people over 50 eat very little protein in the morning. Breakfast might be nothing more than toast, cereal, or a pastry. A few hours later, they're hungry again, reaching for snacks because their bodies never received the nourishment they needed. The second food on his daily list may be even more surprising: oats. Every morning, alongside his eggs, he ate a bowl of simple oats. Not sugary instant packets loaded with sweeteners, but plain oats prepared the traditional way. He often said that people underestimate simple foods because they're too familiar. Yet some of the healthiest habits in the world are also the simplest. Oats contain natural fiber that helps support digestion and may help maintain healthy cholesterol levels. More importantly, they provide steady energy instead of the rapid spikes and crashes that many processed breakfast foods create. Think about how many people begin their day with something sweet. For a short time they feel energized, but then suddenly they feel tired. Their concentration drops, their hunger returns, and the cycle repeats. The 112-year-old man believed steady energy was one of the greatest gifts a person could give their body. Not excitement, not stimulation, but steadiness. Because a steady body often creates a steadier life. But wait until you hear the third food, because this is where his story becomes truly fascinating. Every single day he ate berries. Blueberries when available, strawberries when available, and blackberries when available. He wasn't picky. What mattered was consistency. As people age, one of their biggest fears is memory loss. Many worry about forgetting names, forgetting appointments, or walking into a room and forgetting why they entered. These moments can feel frightening. The 112-year-old man understood those fears. He watched friends struggle with memory problems as they grew older. That's one reason he made colorful fruits a permanent part of his routine. He believed the body thrives when it receives a variety of natural plant foods. And while no food can guarantee perfect memory, many experts agree that fruits rich in natural compounds can be valuable parts of a healthy eating pattern. But here's something interesting. He never treated berries like medicine. He treated them like a normal part of life. That's a lesson many people miss. The healthiest habits often don't feel dramatic. They're simply repeated over and over until they become automatic. And speaking of automatic habits, the fourth food on this list was something many people already have in their kitchen, but rarely use enough: nuts. He ate a small handful every day. Not an entire bag, not a giant serving, just a modest amount. Walnuts, almonds, sometimes pistachios, whatever was available. He called them nature's pocket food because they were easy to carry and required no preparation. As he grew older, he noticed something important. Many people weren't actually hungry. They were undernourished. They filled their stomachs but failed to feed their bodies. That's a major difference. A person can consume plenty of calories while still missing nutrients that help support overall health. The 112-year-old man believed small daily choices mattered far more than occasional healthy meals. And the fifth food on his list proves exactly that. It was leafy greens. Every single day, whether it was spinach, kale, lettuce, or other greens, he found a way to include them. Many people hear the words leafy greens and immediately lose interest, but this man viewed them differently. He saw them as daily maintenance for the body. Just as a car needs regular care to keep running smoothly, he believed the body needed regular nourishment to perform its best. Now let's talk about the final two foods that completed this 112-year-old man's daily routine. The sixth food was beans, simple, humble beans. Nothing fancy, no expensive packaging, no celebrity endorsements, just beans. Whether it was lentils, black beans, chickpeas, or other varieties, he found a way to include them in his meals almost every day. When people asked him why, his answer was surprisingly simple: they fill me up without slowing me down. As he aged, he noticed that many people around him constantly felt tired after meals. They would eat lunch and immediately want to sit down, and some even felt sleepy for hours. He believed that balanced meals helped him maintain his energy throughout the day. Beans became one of the foods he trusted because they provided lasting satisfaction without making him feel heavy. And here's where another common mistake appears. Many people think healthy eating must be complicated. They spend hundreds of dollars searching for special products while ignoring affordable foods that have nourished generations of healthy people. The 112-year-old man often laughed at this idea. He would say that some of the best foods in the world don't come with advertising campaigns. They simply sit quietly on grocery store shelves waiting to be noticed. But the seventh food on his list may be the most important of all. Surprisingly, it isn't really a food, it's water. Yes, water. Every day, without fail, he treated hydration as seriously as eating. That may sound obvious, but many people over 50 unknowingly drink less water than their bodies need. Sometimes they simply don't feel thirsty. Sometimes they're busy. Sometimes they replace water with sugary drinks or consume very little throughout the day. The result can be fatigue, headaches, poor concentration, dry skin, and low energy. The 112-year-old man believed that many people walk around feeling older than they really are, simply because their bodies are underhydrated. He developed a simple habit decades ago. He drank water consistently throughout the day instead of waiting until he felt thirsty, and that habit stayed with him for life. When people asked for his secret, he often smiled because they expected something much more complicated. But his daily routine was remarkably simple: eggs, oats, berries, nuts, leafy greens, beans, and water. Not once a week. Not only when convenient, every single day. But here's something important. It wasn't just the foods themselves that made the difference, it was the habits surrounding them. For example, he rarely rushed through meals. He sat down, ate slowly, and paid attention to what he was eating. In today's world, that's becoming increasingly rare. Many people eat while watching television, others eat while scrolling through their phones, and some barely remember what they ate because their minds were somewhere else entirely. The 112-year-old man believed meals should be moments of nourishment, not distractions. There was another habit he followed consistently as well: walking. Not extreme workouts, not exhausting exercise routines, just walking. Every day, rain or shine. A short walk after meals became part of his life for decades. At first, it seemed insignificant. A few minutes here, a few minutes there. But over the course of years, those small walks added up to thousands of miles. That's a lesson many people need to hear. Health is rarely created by one giant decision. It's usually created by hundreds of small decisions repeated over and over again. The problem is that small actions don't feel powerful in the moment. A healthy breakfast doesn't transform your life overnight. A short walk doesn't instantly make you stronger. One glass of water doesn't suddenly make you healthier. But those actions accumulate day after day, month after month, year after year. Eventually, the results become impossible to ignore. But here's where the biggest misunderstanding happens. Many people hear stories like this and immediately think they need to become perfect. They decide they'll never eat dessert again, they'll never miss a workout, and they'll completely change their lives tomorrow morning. Then reality arrives. A busy day happens, a family event happens, a holiday happens. And suddenly the plan falls apart. The 112-year-old man never chased perfection. He chased consistency. That's a very different goal because consistency survives real life. Perfection doesn't. And what he discovered after more than a century of living is something surprisingly powerful. The body responds amazingly well when it's treated with patience. Not punishment, not extremes, but patience. Before we finish this story, there's one final lesson he shared that may be even more important than all 7 foods combined. And it's something most people don't realize until it's too late. The final lesson this 112-year-old man shared had nothing to do with a special food, a miracle supplement, or an advanced medical treatment. In fact, he believed this lesson was the reason many people fail even when they know exactly what they should be doing. One afternoon, when someone asked him what the biggest threat to health was, they expected him to mention sugar, smoking, or lack of exercise. Instead, he gave an answer nobody expected. He said, "The biggest danger is waiting. Waiting until symptoms appear. Waiting until energy disappears. Waiting until the doctor delivers bad news. And waiting until the body forces you to change." That answer stayed with people because it was so true. Think about how often we tell ourselves, "We'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll eat better. Tomorrow we'll walk more. Tomorrow we'll drink more water. And tomorrow we'll take care of ourselves." But weeks become months. Months become years. And before we realize it, valuable time has slipped away. The 112-year-old man understood something many people learn too late. Your body is always listening. Every meal matters, every walk matters, every night of good sleep matters, and every healthy choice sends a message to the body. While one choice may seem small, thousands of choices create a lifetime. But here's where another hidden danger appears. Many people become discouraged because they compare themselves to who they were 20 or 30 years ago. They remember having endless energy, stronger knees, and the ability to recover quickly. Then they look at themselves today and feel disappointed. The 112-year-old man warned against this way of thinking. He often said that health isn't about competing with your younger self. It's about giving your current self the best chance to thrive. That simple shift in perspective changes everything. Because the goal isn't perfection, and it isn't looking 25 again. The goal is maintaining strength, independence, energy, and joy for as long as possible. And that's exactly what he managed to do. Even in his later years, he continued getting out of bed with purpose. He continued moving, enjoying conversations, and appreciating each day. Not because he discovered some magical secret, but because he respected the small habits most people ignore. Now, there's another warning he often shared, and it may be the most important one of all. Never assume it's too late. Too many people over 50, 60, 70, or even 80 convince themselves that the damage has already been done. They think healthy habits only matter when you're young. The 112-year-old man completely disagreed. He believed the body can benefit from positive changes at almost any age. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not instantly, but positively. The moment you begin making better choices, your body begins responding. That's why he encouraged people to start small. Don't try to change your entire life overnight. Start with one healthy breakfast, one extra glass of water, one short walk, or one serving of vegetables. Then repeat it tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Because consistency has a power that motivation can never match. Motivation comes and goes, but consistency stays. And perhaps that's the real secret hidden behind this incredible story. It wasn't the 7 foods alone. It was the decision to keep showing up for his health every single day for decades. When others quit, he continued. When others looked for shortcuts, he stayed with the basics. When others chased the newest trend, he trusted simple habits. And those simple habits helped carry him through more than a century of life. So as you think about your own health today, ask yourself one question. What is one small habit you can begin right now that your future self will thank you for? Because the answer to that question could matter far more than you realize. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who wants to stay healthy, active, and independent for many years to come. And remember, extraordinary health is often built from ordinary habits repeated consistently. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.